And we have breaking news in the case that's been watched a lot in recent days of a Maryland man who the government concedes it mistakenly deported to El Salvador and has since been detained in the country's notorious mega prison. Moments ago, the Supreme Court issued a stay, pausing a judge's order requiring the government to return the man to the U.S. by midnight tonight. In its filing to the Supreme Court, the administration argued the courts did not have the authority to order his returning, adding that that deadline tonight was, quote, arbitrary and impossible, they alleged. So while that case continues to get tied up in the courts, over the weekend, the Department of Justice made what many consider a stunning decision to place the attorney who represented the administration in this case on leave for failing to, quote, zealously advocate on behalf of the government. Here's what Attorney General Pam Bondi said yesterday.
On day one, I issued a memo that you are to vigorously advocate on behalf of the United States. Our client in this matter was Homeland Security, is Homeland Security. He did not argue. He shouldn't have taken the case. He shouldn't have argued it if that's what he was going to do. He's on administrative leave now. But yes, you have to vigorously argue on behalf of your client.
And joining me now is NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Good to have you with us here. So we're processing a lot. The Supreme Court has just given the government what it asked for, more time. What is your takeaway on that?
Well, I am a little surprised. There was always one scenario where they just wouldn't weigh in, that they wouldn't give this administrative stay. They'd stay quiet on the issue, wait until they were able to weigh in on maybe the merits of this case, and allow the district judge's order to stay, which could have put them in contempt of court territory, which is the same thing happening here in D.C. with a very similar case regarding the authority to deport those people on March 15th, of which Abrego Garcia is one of them, and not turn the planes around. The Supreme Court is not weighing in on that. Why did they decide to weigh in here? I'm wondering that. It could just be a matter of time. We understand that it could be that they were arguing, as you said, it was impossible to get him back, and that the Supreme Court
That's a big word, really.
Right, exactly. And of course, we know that the Justice Department lawyer who's now been put on leave didn't necessarily say it was impossible, but it could be that the Supreme Court thought, well, until we can figure out really what the authority the U.S. has here in terms of talking to El Salvador, getting this man out of prison, and getting him here by midnight tonight. I mean, the judge did not leave more than 3-4 days to get this in order. Maybe they thought the timeline wasn't achievable. But it's certainly a little bit of a shock here, and especially to his family, who may have expected him back in the country tonight.
And there had been an earlier lower court decision about this that I know had made the family more hopeful about wanting to be able to bring him back. And the government has been saying that because they have left the United States and they don't have direct authority over El Salvador, and yet the U.S. is paying for this detention in El Salvador, has a good relationship with the president there. So it would seem, especially in your reporting, that there are channels to try to do this.
Of course. In fact, a lower court judge on Friday pointed out the fact that Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem was just inside that prison with U.S. media, walking freely around. It's not as if someone is in the hands of an alien or an enemy nation and that there's no relations to get this person back. And this is a case where the Trump administration, as you know, Kelly, have said that they made a mistake here. It was an administrative error. But in this case, they're saying that they are somehow, their hands are tied and they cannot bring him back.
I know you'll be tracking this closely. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it. We also now want to speak with the lawyer who has been representing the man and his family from Maryland. And so I know you've got a lot of insight on this. Simon Sandoval-Moshenberg is here with us in the case that centers on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So I'm glad you are here. We wanted to get your first reaction to what the Supreme Court has said. How surprised are you, and what do you think the next steps are?
Yeah, I mean, this is a temporary administrative stay. It doesn't say how many days or even hours it's going to last. But we have every confidence that the Supreme Court is going to resolve this matter as fast as possible.
So just a little bit of a pause in your view, then, not anything that is changing the direction of your strategy.
That's exactly right. It was a one-sentence order from the Chief Justice. The Supreme Court needs a little bit of time to get their hands around this. And
do you get a sense that they will speak again through the court, or is this going back now to the lower court?
No, there will be a more fulsome opinion that the Supreme Court will issue on the request for a stay. The A full stay would essentially say to the government, you don't have to obey this order at all while we engage in this protracted litigation.
Okay,
that's
so
what the government's
it's buying us
needs.
time, which is not the thing you want, I know. Right. Have you been able to speak with Mr. Abrego Garcia's family since this decision came down?
Very, very briefly. It was just minutes ago, but it's been a real yo-yo weekend for his wife. First, between the really stirring decision of the Fourth Circuit denying a stay and denying an administrative stay, unanimous, all three judges, and then, followed by this. It's been a lot for her.
Now, you've also said that if the government were to begin to act in good faith, as you would see it, you would want to respond in a different way. And what are you looking for from the government? Absolutely.
Look, I don't think there's anyone in this whole country who doesn't recognize the truth of this matter, which is that they could pick up the phone and work this out, with one phone call, right? The impossibility defense is not based on any facts that they've presented to the court. It's based on essentially their legal contention that they shouldn't have to. But in the end, the district judge started the hearing by saying, I'm only going to rule based on the evidence in the record. I don't want to hear anything outside of the evidence. And there was no evidence on impossibility. And the reason that there was no evidence on impossibility is that they haven't tried. They haven't so much as picked up the phone.
And do you have any pathways outside of the litigation that you're involved in to try to reach officials in El Salvador directly to try to make a deal on a humanitarian grounds, perhaps? Is there a way for you to even establish that kind of an open door?
We haven't even established so much as contact with Mr. Abrego Garcia. The family hired a lawyer in El Salvador to try to arrange a jail visit. But El Salvador has been under a state of emergency for several years. They've suspended the writ of habeas corpus. And unfortunately, I think that's why the administration's so enamored of it right now, because it's a country in which there are essentially no civil or human rights.
Now, the administration has alleged that your client has an affiliation with the MS-13 gang. Are you concerned, is his family concerned, that even if he is returned to the United States as you work this through the courts, that the administration would still have the position that it intends to deport him to a different country?
Yeah, we are ready to face those charges on the merits. If they really believe that, what they should have done is bring a case against him in immigration court, not just bundle him onto an airplane. They've said he's a human trafficker, all kinds of crazy stuff. What do we do in this country when we have, someone who we think has committed crimes against the United States? We file charges and then we extradite them back to the country, right? Drug lords from Colombia, cartel leaders from Mexico, bring him back here. You want to bring charges against him? Like, we're ready to face that head on, but from the United States.
And what do you make of the Department of Justice putting an attorney representing the government who was involved in this case on leave? It's a striking thing to take place right after your case was argued. How might this complicate the next steps you face?
The practical implication of it for us is that it means we don't even have a negotiating partner, right? I mean, we would be happy. We've been happy all along to work this matter out, right? Send me an email, pick up the phone, give me a call. Let's figure out how to get this done. We're not the ones who made this. This is one guy from Maryland, right? He's a father. He's a sheet metal worker. That this had to go to the Supreme Court of the United States is preposterous, right? And it's the government that made that decision, not us.
Can you give us a sense of how the family is doing?
They're just really, their main concern is, when they see, Jennifer's main concern is when she sees her husband back, what condition is he going to be in?
Well, we certainly wish you the best, and we appreciate the updates on this important case and one that certainly is tied into huge issues in our country right now. Thank you so much for your time.
Good to be here.
And we're also learning about another individual who was deported to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act, despite having no known criminal record. Andre Hernandez Romero, a gay man who worked as a makeup artist, is now also being held in the notorious mega prison, despite his family and lawyer denying he's affiliated with any gang. Joining me now is NBC News correspondent David Noriega, who has been covering this story. And David, I know that you have more insight into Mr. Hernandez and what the family is saying about his detention in El Salvador. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Kelly, so I spoke to his mother and a very close friend of his from childhood and learned more about him as a person and how he wound up in the situation that he's in. So Hernandez, the evidence that authorities gave for linking him to Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang, was that he has tattoos of crowns on each of his wrists. They say that this is a marker of belonging to this Venezuelan gang. Now, experts that I've spoken to in my reporting on Tren de Aragua say that that is not true, that in fact, this is a gang that generally speaking does not use tattoos as markers of membership in the way that some other gangs like MS-13 do. In addition to that, Hernandez's family told me that those specific tattoos have a very innocent explanation. Hernandez is from a small town in Venezuela that is known for having a very sort of elaborate theatrical festival to celebrate Three Kings Day. This is a Christian holiday in January. When Hernandez was growing up, this festival is how he discovered his love for costume design, theater, and for what eventually became his career, which is makeup. He would design and sew his own costumes for the parade. He would do makeup for the parade. And he had a very close personal appreciation for this event, and the crowns on his wrists are referencing, they're a symbol for the Three Kings. So his family says that he has absolutely no gang affiliation whatsoever, has no criminal history. Government records, in fact, confirm that when he crossed the U.S. border to seek asylum, they indicated that he had no known criminal record. And Kelly, his family has not been able to hear from him at all. They've had no news of him whatsoever for weeks because this mega prison in El Salvador, where he's been deported, does not allow any contact with the people inside. His friend from childhood told me also that given that that Hernandez is gay, she is very concerned for what his sexual orientation might mean with regards to the treatment that he might receive in this pretty infamously tough prison. Kelly?
You touched on a couple of the questions I had, wanting to know, is there any update on how he is doing and his potential for being even more vulnerable in this setting? You've also been studying Tren de Aragua and looking at it more broadly. Why is this such a focus of the administration based on what you've been learning?
So to answer your first question, they have absolutely no news of Hernandez, and this is true of every family that has a loved one in that facility at this point. And to answer your second question, Kelly, the gang Tren de Aragua fills a very specific role in the Trump administration. Now, this is a very real gang, a very violent gang with a strong presence across Latin America that is tied to the massive exodus of millions of Venezuelans from that country over the last decade or so. And they have been a growing concern for law enforcement, both at the federal and state level in the United States for some years now. However, critics of the Trump administration say that the role the gang plays has more to do with its political use as a sort of boogeyman than the reality that the gang represents as an actual, criminal structure. It's something akin to the role that MS-13 played in the first Trump administration. The reporting that I've done on TDA shows that they have a sort of a modus operandi, which involves traveling with, large waves of Venezuelan migrants. And so when several 100,000 Venezuelans arrived in the U.S., some of them, a very, very small number of them, were found to have been affiliated with TVA. Interestingly, Kelly, their criminal operations, the way that they're structured, by and large, the targets of those criminal operations are other Venezuelan migrants. They sort of prey on, in this kind of parasitic way, they prey on these migrant flows for their criminal operations, which include everything from sex trafficking to drug trafficking. And I do want to say, Kelly, some very, very violent crimes. They've been accused of murders, of armed robberies. It's law enforcement definitely considers them a very serious problem and a serious force to contend with. Then again, there is a gap between the reality of the gang and the way it's being presented as a sort of invading force that requires invoking, for example, the Alien Enemies Act by the Trump administration. Kelly?
Well, that's very helpful context, David. I appreciate your time today, and thank you for your reporting and your insights on this.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.